Hi there YouTube, this is the Magnus bringing you another Total War Warhammer online ladder battle. This time my opponent chose to play as Bretonnia, so I brought the Empire. My composition is 6 spearmen, each ranked up once. Behind them I have 1 crossbowman, I have a steam tank, and hidden over here in the woods I have the Royal Altdorf Griffites, and up in the air I have an Amber Wizard, 2 Empire Captains, and the General of the Empire. Looking at my opponent's build, I'm not able to see quite a bit of it in the actual fight, but he brings 7 of the Spearmen at Arms. He brings 2 Knights of the Realm, 2 Grail Knights, and a flying corps consisting of Pegasus Knights, 2 Paladins, and a Lord. So no Llewellyn Corps, just a regular Lord. And let's see how this plays out. So initially I am going to be a little bit defensive because his flying corps concerns me. It's a pretty close matchup, so I'm going to stick close to my crossbowman while I have my steam tank go ahead and start firing at his infantry to make them uncomfortable in the meantime. So I did not have enough to summon another Manticore, which is what I would prefer to do. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and drop down a Flock of Doom upgraded, just hoping to wear down the Pegasus some. Then you're going to see my crossbowmen get involved in the fight, and I give the Flock of Doom as much time to work as possible, and then I'm going to charge right in to his flying corps, and we're going to have a heck of an air combat here. As you can see, my Amber Wizard takes a severe beating right out the gate, which is unfortunate. His Pegasus, though, is the first to leave the fight, and then I'm going to focus on his Lord. You're going to see even the steam tank's steam gun is going to take a shot or 2 here into the air as well. Down goes my Amber Wizard, most unfortunate. His Lord is going to run. I give chase for just a bit. His Pegasus Knights reform, they come back, but they're shaken as soon as they see me and the arrows flying. Then I'm going to turn back and focus on the Paladins while I have 1 Empire Captain hunt the Lord down and try to rout him from the map or catch and kill him. I'm going to send my infantry charging in. I'm going to let my crossbowmen continue to help in the air fight here, which right now is down to a Paladin versus an Empire Captain and my General of the Empire. I'm going to use both of his potions to make sure he doesn't flee, because I see all this cav come out and I know I've got a problem. I realized he hadn't spent all of his money, but I didn't realize he had that much money left, so that was pretty intimidating seeing that come out of the forest. So as you can see, his cavalry come crashing right through this gap in my line. Some of them are going to get slowed up a bit. I'm going to try to chase this Paladin down. I'm thinking without leadership he won't do too well, and I'm going to use my steam tank to try to start break some of his infantry to free up some of my spearmen to help against the cav. In the meantime, the Royal Altdorf Griffites are still being held in reserve. I don't want him to know I have those, and I would bring them out now, but with all of his cav being here and them having come the whole way across the field, I feared it would not go well for me. Right now, 1 Empire Captain that's chasing the Lord gets intercepted by a Pegasus Knight and a Paladin, so that's going to make for an interesting situation. His cav over here, I bogged them down with the General of the Empire, and I also had sent in 1 of my Empire Captains. That's going to spell doom for my crossbowmen, though. Once they get free of those, his cav are going to start to roam. They break the center of my line, and my steam tank is over here still trying to work on their infantry while shooting this way, just trying to use that fear and terror that it creates. So I get some spearmen into these Grail Knights, which I'm pleased about. He charges into the rear of my line, devastating with the Knights of the Realm. The flying war is still going on. There's people retreating, people coming back. My guys are wavering. It's just going back and forth, popping potions as I can. So now he begins to commit cavalry over here to the right side, and I realize I can't wait another second to bring out my trump card. So I bring out the Royal Altdorf Griffites. They're great fighters against cav, and they're also terrifying. So setting them smashing into this unit of Spearmen at Arms and his Knights of the Realm is going to result in both of them breaking immediately. The steam tank being there, plus this infantry, plus the Royal Altdorf Griffites is way too much. These spearmen got broke on that side. Spearmen here broke. So now I'm bringing my General of the Empire back over towards where my lines are, and realizing this is where my strength is, and his is obviously on this side of the field. So it's almost going to be like a second start to the battle. My General of the Empire gets caught by his paladin, so I pop Foe Seeker, Stand Your Ground, and Deadly Onslaught to try and turn this in my favor. It works, especially with the other Empire captain coming over. So now he's retreating from us, so we're going to try to put a little bit of beating on him. We finished off those spearmen at arms, so they will not be returning to the fight. I'm going to give chase for a little while, but I'm going to have to get back, especially with the General of the Empire right away, to provide leadership and be able to use his buffs as they become available. So he lines up his 2 infantry and his 3 cav. I have 2 infantry, 1 cav, a tank, and my general here, but he's building another line of infantry here, and they're coming in. These guys are coming back, so I'm starting to see the numbers aren't against me, so I have to make the move. I can't wait. For whatever reason, because they were down this little bit of downhill here, my steam tank could not fire, so I figure, okay, let's make a melee move with them. So my goal is to try to pin him with the infantry and then work around with the cav. He's not having that. Don't blame him. So I'm going to go ahead and let these infantry go ahead into those, and then these are going to continue to pursue and then break into the back of his infantry there. The steam tank can now shoot at them, so I'm happy enough to have that happen, and these infantry really aren't much of a threat to my steam tank. They have no armor piercing and are not going to be able to do a good number on it. So you can see my spearmen are giving chase here, and they're going to actually end up running into other spearmen. His cav now have done a full loop around while he gathered his infantry. Very clever maneuver. Not something I would have necessarily thought of, so I like that quite a bit. But I am going to use the situation to double down on these infantry here, which is going to be a little bit rough for him. He's going to come into my steam tank with the Grail Knights. They will do some damage, but not like not enough to kill it quickly. The Knights of the Realm take a mean charge from the Royal Altdorf Griffites. They get in there, they're doing good work, doing good damage. He's got Grail Knights in here, but they're pinned in between spears, and I'm also using the General of Empire to beat on them. His spears, again, without sufficient leadership, are going to retreat. They don't have any leaders on the field. And then I'm just going to bring everything into this last unit of the Grail Knights and try to beat them down quickly. As you can see, their leadership is failing. He gets some paladins that come back, or Pegasus Knights, I'm sorry, that come back, but immediately upon seeing my terror units are going to freak out and try to run right out the gate. I have spearmen coming back from several places at this point, and an Empire captain who had ran before using his potions, so now he's back at full strength. Bar shifts strongly in my favor as most of his cav retreats. I'm just going to continue to push and punch. Going after these units, as soon as I see them start to break and these guys come in, I'm going to let the steam tank and some other guys handle them. And it's going to be pretty much all she wrote for Bretonnia. He's got men on the field, but they're all just infantry, peasants, no leaders, equals dead Bretonnia. So first of all, to my opponent. A very good game to my opponent. That was that was a micro-intensive, thinking-intensive battle. I always appreciate that. So that was really cool. And like some of the maneuvers I pointed out were absolutely fantastic. His timing with his cavalry was no less than devastating as well. So let's take a look at the tail of the tape. My flying corps won the battle, which was extremely important in this circumstance. And I think the crossbowmen were a good help to that. The Amber Wizard was an unfortunate early casualty. He only got 1 flock of doom off on 1 group of Pegasus Knights, so that was unfortunate. But he's the squishiest out of this group, so he's they all have potions, he doesn't, so it was kind of to be expected. My infantry did as well as his infantry for all practical purposes. The Royal Altdorf Griffites did very well. They don't have a ton of kills because they didn't come into the battle till quite late, almost too late, I would say. I think I was a little too cute there. But when they did come in, they were a huge tide turner, as I'm sure you all noticed. The steam tank was extremely powerful. It got kills. It scared people away, and it just, it's hard to kill if you don't bring some armor piercing, you're going to be in trouble. Really, the only thing that was a threat to them was the Grail Knights and possibly their lord. So the steam tank was definitely a big part of my victory. Looking at my opponent's army, his cavalry did fantastic. He microed them well, and they got great results. His leadership group fought a hell of a fight. They just lost it. And if you look at the health, he had a lot more health left on his infantry than I did. But the difference was they still had leaders, 3 of them to be exact, you know, my General of the Empire and 2 Empire captains on the field to keep them encouraged. He had nothing. They were dead, except for, looks like this paladin, but I believe he fled. So they were lacking in leadership, and they were also facing terror from the Royal Altdorf Griffites and the steam tank. So again, good game to my opponent. If you learned something, if you just enjoyed watching the battle, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Until the next time, this is the Magnus, and I'll see you on the ladder.